Hey, I'm the Rev. I'm here today with Monster Mike from Monster Mike Art. And today we're going to be talking about Monsters, Mike, and art. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Mike McLaughlin, otherwise known as Monster Mike, a spray paint stencil artist from Salt Lake City.
How old were you when you first started then?
When I first started spray painting, if you ask my dad, I was 7. Because I spray painted the side of our house once, and he still does not like to let me forget that. I tagged my own house as a little kid. I was always struck by the minimalist art. The movie posters that were really basic. It was just like, 2 colors and a vague shape. There was so little to it, but yet you knew exactly what it was trying to convey. You say a lot with very little. So I always had the idea that I wanted to do that, but I thought it'd be cool to do it with spray paint. For Christmas, actually, just as a random surprise, my wife surprised me with a bundle of canvas paints and a gift card to Home Depot. Just go buy some spray paint, have fun. Because there were years after I left being a musician where I just decided I felt like I needed to embrace maturity and I needed to grow up and I needed to get a real job and be an adult. And I did that for several years and it was really unsatisfying. Anybody who's into art, you need to just embrace what speaks to you. Everybody has this different thing that they're a nerd about. Whether you're a nerd for sports or whether you're a nerd for music or whether you're a nerd for comic books, there's something that resonates with you. I feel like it's just important to embrace it. I've always been a nerd when it comes to pop culture.
What is your favorite color?
I like bright colors. I like vivid pop, like eye-catching colors. But really, I actually don't have a favorite color. I've always thought that that's a weird thing to have a favorite of.
What is your quest?
Oh, wow. Basically to live day to day without humiliating myself. That's pretty much. If I've gone to bed without making an ass of myself in that day, I've had a good day.
Success.
Most days I don't do that though.
And what is the average velocity of a Leighton Sparrow?
You're really gonna bust out the old Holy Grail. Instinctively I want to quote the movie, but I also don't.
What is the craziest thing that you have ever been asked to paint?
I had somebody ask me to paint his wife nude, and then I told him commission-wise how much I would charge, and he was like, I don't know, people don't understand just how much time and effort and just how much work is involved in creating that. I mean, each image is different. Mm-hmm. So there are paintings I've made that are as little as like 5 or 6 hours, and then I think the most I've done is 25-ish. But even though that's the end goal is to get to the paint, right. The reality is that actually takes the least amount of time. Most of the work, without doubt, is the drawing and the cutting of the stencils. One of the recent pieces that I was requested was Barf from Spaceballs, which
very cool.
is going to be fun. Which I should clarify, Barf is the Spaceballs version of Chewie. I'm not just not painting vomit.
That's what my paintings look like.
I keep telling, every once in a while I'll tell somebody that the next painting I'm working on is a painting of Barf, and people are like...
Tell me about your process.
The first thing I do is I'll try to find a reference image that I can work with. The shadows have to be right. If there's too much light, then the layering just doesn't work right. It doesn't translate well into that broken down, stencilized 4 or 5 basic colors. Once I've found that image, I like to use stencil paper so that I can layer each one on top of each other, sort of getting an idea of how this layer is going to lay down on top of this other layer. Then after that, it comes down to the cutting of the stencils.
What is your favorite stencil material?
As silly as it sounds, it's just regular old elementary school style school project poster board. There's a local company here in Utah that makes a tool called the pen blade. The pen blades have a little bit of flex to them, so if I have to do a sharp curve, it curves really well. I specifically paint on 11 by 14 just because if you were to buy it from me, I want it to be easy for you to find a frame for it. Once the stenciling's done, I'll start with the actual painting aspect of things. I'll pre-plan sort of the concept that I want to go for, the color scheme, how I want to approach the painting. I like to just stick to really basic backgrounds, as far as cool geometric craziness to it, but really not any main focal point, because I don't want to distract from the face. And then it's layering the actual stencil itself. Once I know what the layout's going to be, though, I'll find the colors that I want to work with. A lot of times it's a grayscale. I find that I really like the grayscales.
So how do we find you?
I'm on Instagram easily at Monster Mike Art, or Facebook Monster Mike Artist. Outside from that, it's just come and say hi if you're at an event. Like I'll be at FanX. I'll be at a lot of the random sort of pop-up art fests. And that's my favorite way of getting to know people, is just actually getting to know people.
What advice do you have for other artists?
My advice for anyone in anything really has always sort of been the same, and that's really not to listen to anyone else's advice. With this, I'm just happy to be on the ride. Whatever happens, happens.
All right, it's time for the TNT round.
And that means it's time for another Die of Destiny roll. You know how it works.
Die of Destiny!
Come on, 20.
All right, natural 20.
Oh, I thought bouncing off of R2 might help us,
R2's.
but try again next week.
Yep.
Our red team member is going to be Crystal A. Welcome, Crystal A.
Blue team's picking up Stephen T.
Yay!
Hey,
Welcome.
Steven.
Now let's talk about our prize for this week. We have a Monster Mike print. It is Heisenberg from Breaking Bad that's signed by Monster Mike himself.
Not signed by Heisenberg.
No, yeah, not signed by Heisenberg. But if you go to enough cons, you could probably get it signed by Heisenberg.
Okay, guys, first question. Which movie or game character would make the most money modeling?
Well, since I'm a man, I'm going to pick a female character, which would be Samus Aran. I think she would do quite well for herself in modeling, because she could do Sports Illustrated and the swimsuit issue. Let's just say it that way. She's been depicted as quite the action hero, so she'd have a lot she could sell to the sports audience, but she's also got a lighter side.
Well, yeah, she fought in her armor in a bikini, so
That's fair.
So that's definitely model-esque.
yeah.
I think.
Yeah. No, I like that. Anyways. Now, because you set this up with you're a male and picking a female, I don't know what me being a male and picking a male is, but I'm going to do it anyway.
It's comfortability, it's security.
I'm picking Kratos from God of War. He's like kind of god level, but he's not totally inaccessible. You know, he's like the people's god level
Right.
body, and he's just straight muscle. He's got that alpha male look that people seem to like. So I think he'd do well for himself. He's not pretty. I was trying to pick somebody pretty, but I'm like, Link? No, it just doesn't work. So I think if we're just
Link
going
is more of a
super-
Justin Bieber. People wouldn't.
Yeah.
People would like
Modeling,
to tear Link up.
no.
Yeah. I just like he's holding things and carrying things, and he's just being a stud. So there you go.
See, I probably would have gone with like Daenerys Stormborn or like, / Khaleesi. Like, I feel like she would make a lot of money modeling.
Yeah. Well, she already kind of is a model.
Probably does. I mean, like Game
Look,
of
here's her
Thrones.
sitting
Like
on a throne.
exactly. Yeah.
It would be really hard to get Kratos into a contract for modeling. Though.
Yes,
True,
Yeah.
yes,
You'd
it
have,
would.
you'd have to tell him that he could fight Poseidon if he fulfilled his contract or
Yeah.
something. Give him some good motivation. So Monster Mike picked these, right? He was the actual judge.
All right. What did he vote?
But I'm kind of surprised that nobody said Lara Croft, because let's face it, like, big boobs they sell. But of those two, we'll do God of War.
Point for the red team.
Yay.
Good job, Red Team.
By the way, Manu picked a woman. I picked a woman. He picked a man, and the man picked a man. So
You're poking holes in my logic. Clearly, everything I say on this show is very well thought out, very well reasoned,
course it is.
and very correct.
All right. So, ready for question number 2, guys?
Do it.
All right. If you were a street artist, what would your street name be?
I figured if I was a street artist, I'd really need to take from somebody else more successful for me to get started. So I chose Ganksy. Just
Nice.
adds a little G to Banksy, and he would probably be mad about it, but I think that'll work.
What kind of art would you do though?
It would probably be very opposite of Banksy, so it would probably be very cartoonish, very not political, just goofy street art, just like Kirby eating a sandwich, or kids jump roping, just
Right.
wacky stuff.
I think I'd go a little bit on the sort of nerdy World of Warcraft side of it. I think I would call myself Master Murloc, but said with a British accent. Can you say Master Murloc in a British accent?
Don't look at me.
Master Murloc.
Yes, exactly. See? Perfect.
And what did he vote?
Well, that's kind of weird because I actually already have a name like that. So, but of those two, that Master Murloc, or that one.
Point for Blue.
Because Murlocs are awesome and annoying, which is what street
good.
art can be at its
Really
best.
pokes at you.
Exactly.
Agree.
Street art is best, both amazing and annoying.
Yes.
All right. Guys, another tiebreaker. With all due respect to the beloved memory of John Candy, if they did make a sequel to Spaceballs, who would be best casted to play Barf?
I think they could cast Rebel Wilson to play as Barf's daughter.
It would be
I
awesome.
think she would do a nice job of it. I can just see her in the makeup. She likes to do a little bit of physical humor, and I think she could really expand on that role, and make it. She could play it like John Candy, but I think she could add a lot to it also, and just she makes me laugh every time I see her on screen.
Yeah, so she would be a home run. I like that pick better than mine. I have one. I'm gonna sell it, but Rebel Wilson is great. I chose Seth Rogen. He is funny. He has that kind of not so seriousness that John Candy kind of had in that role, so he could kind of be irreverent, and he's just funny, tell jokes, and especially if they just decided to go with a high angle on Barf as the new Barf. So I think it would be great. Both are great choices. I think both of them would be hilarious, and I think Seth Rogen is a very adaptable, funny guy.
All right. And
Oh, I like Rebel Wilson. I like that idea.
the point is to the blue team.
Blue team wins.
Woo, blue team
Yay.
wins.
Thanks, Monster Mike.
Guys, wait. I have one more question. If you were a street artist and would tag anything in the Star Wars universe, what would you tag?
It's such an awesome question. I would probably want to paint on the side of one of the walkers, like the AT-ATs. I'd be tempted to paint it, like just one side of it, like it was a big cat, just so it looked like a giant cat walking through.
Oh, a big sign. Luke, Darth Vader is your father.
I'm Jordan. I own Mythic Games in Lehigh, Utah, and we do a lot of nerd stuff, so come on down and check us out. I would tag the back of Yoda's head. I don't think his arms can reach, so it would be an unsolvable mystery.
I would do the Millennium Falcon. First off, like Chewie or Han's gonna be like, what the heck? And second off, it's a Millennium Falcon. Everyone's gonna see it.
Death Star, I would tag it like pink and purpley creatures.
I would probably, like a giant crate dragon across the Imperial Star Destroyer. I don't know. Let's give it a little bit of flavor.
Yeah, Phasma, Captain Phasma. I would probably do something crazy with her outfit.
I would collect tag the Death Star just because, put something stupidly funny on it to make it look less menacing. Put, the Rebellion sign on it, for Rebellion was here.
Palpatine sucks. Hey, thanks again for joining us. And until next time, remember, ba with the ba, the bang jiggy. Up jump the boogie, said up jump the boogie.